guys, welcome to a brand new video on my channel, Makes Movies. If you are new to this channel, that's basically where I talk to you guys about my passion for movies. This goes from collections, hauls, reviews, and today's video, so let's get into it. And I'm back with another original versus remake, and this one is in honour of the new Peter Pan and Wendy film, so of course we are doing Peter Pan. So this is the animated version from Disney going up against the live-action Disney remake that we just got this past week. So I just want to start off by saying this is my own personal opinion, this is my own thoughts. I did grow up with Peter Pan because my sister did love the Peter Pan films growing up, so I did watch them along with her. However, for me, Peter Pan is not my go-to franchise from Disney, whether it's Disney films or non-Disney films about Peter Pan. So for me, although she enjoyed Peter Pan, I wasn't that much into it. So for me, my feelings might be different to you guys who did enjoy the Peter Pan franchise growing up and things like that. Okay, and with this series, I like to get you guys involved as well. So I did put the poll out and you guys went for the original, so the animated version of Peter Pan. So, okay, so let's get into it with me starting to talk about the original. Okay, so with the original, this was classic number 14, I believe, in the Disney lineup. So, with Peter Pan, I do like the idea of the story, you know, the idea of Peter Pan who takes kids to Neverland, you know, people that don't want to grow up. Obviously, I have heard the darker version, the original one, of this story, where it's obviously Peter Pan takes kids, but not in a good way. And then, of course, we come across Captain Hook, who's obviously the bad guy in this film. And say, we all know the story of Peter Pan, because there's been so many different versions of Peter Pan, whether that's in film or TV. Still, my favourite version of Captain Hook is Killian Jones from Once Upon a Time. Hands down, will always be my favourite. But with the original, I do like it, but at the same time, I don't know what it is, but I could never truly get into it. I liked the villain, Captain Hook. I thought he was a pretty badass villain. I will still never understand why him and Hook had a feud in the first place. They never really explained that. They just start off just like, yep, Peter Pan and Hook are enemies, things like that. I don't know what else I can say about the original, because for me, even though I grew up with it, like I said, I wasn't a massive fan of the Peter Pan movies. I think the only one I think I well and truly enjoyed was Hook. I think out of all of them, potentially one of the others, I'm not sure. But for me, the original, I don't know what it is. I think I also don't like the fact that Tinkerbell doesn't like Wendy straight off the bat. I never understood that. Like, is that because it's all about girls and insecurities and things like that? Maybe that's the reason. But I don't know. I like the fact that Disney went a bit dark at points with this film, in the sense of Tinkerbell trying to get rid of Wendy. I cannot speak today. Like, I do like they tried to do something a little bit different there. But I don't know. Like, I can't really say too much on the original because, say, like I said, I never could truly get into it. I enjoyed it for what it was. And it's those kind of movies where they're hand-drawn animation that I do miss. I love revisiting those. And especially with this one is bright and colourful. Like, when they're in London, it's dark and grey. But when they're in Neverland, it's bright and colourful. So I love the tonal difference with this. I also love Nana, the dog. Like, absolutely adorable dog. Love him. But I'd say, I get what they were trying to do. Obviously, this was back in the early years of Disney. And, of course, they were going around London and things like that, where parents are strict and, you know, things like that. So, for me, I don't know what it is, but just with the original, like I said, I enjoy it, but it's not one I would go back to all that often, if that sounds right. Like, I will be watching this again because I'm planning to review every single Disney film up until my holiday. So there's 61? 61? There'll be 62 when Wish comes out, but that comes out in November. So like 61 days before my holiday, I'll be reviewing every single Disney classic leading up to it, just so I can get myself hyped for the holiday. So I will be doing a full review on this one. I mean, who knows, maybe my opinions might change after I rewatch it again, because this is my first time watching it in ages. I haven't watched this for at least a couple of years, I think. But for me, I'd say the original, like I said, enjoyable. But because I wasn't fully into this franchise, I think my opinions of it will be very different to everybody else. Like, I know this is a classic for most people, and like I said, my sister well and truly enjoyed these films growing up. But for me, I'm very 50-50 on the film, and it's just a mix of feelings, and I will always feel that way, I think. It's not like Lilo and Stitch or Treasure Planet for me, where I'll happily return to these over and over and over again. But it's still one I would recommend people to watch, just to see the hand-drawn animation and just to see the classic side of Disney, like what they were able to do before obviously things changed and, you know, things got stricter and you couldn't do certain things. So I would recommend it if you want to see a different side of Disney. But yeah, so that was the original. So now let's talk about the remake. So the remake is called Peter Pan and Wendy. This is more from the view of Wendy. So this is more about Wendy's side of things more than anything else. I like how they tried to do stuff differently in this one. So, like, they did give Captain Hook and Peter Pan a side story, like, backstory to how they became, like, villains and enemies, and I like that. I think that was what was missing from the original film for me, was that we never got a side story. Like, we never got an explanation as to why Peter Pan and Hook are enemies. I know you don't always have to have that, but I like to have that idea at least, like some hint as to why it was. I know it was all to do with Captain Hook losing his hand to a crocodile and things like that, but that didn't really like explain it fully to me. But with the remake, they did do something different with that. I will say it's not as bright and colourful as the original. Like, after rewatching the original today, I do miss the colourfulness of Neverland that was in that one. This one was more of just like a standard colour, like, of an island. It wasn't like bright and colourful. I will say we didn't get to visit some of the other places like Mermaid Lagoon and things like that. I will also like to say that I do like the fact that Tinkerbell wasn't like against Wendy the whole time. Like, she never had a grudge against Wendy, which say there's certain things I never understood about the original. I mean, I get they're trying to do a different character, but then when you look at Tinkerbell further on in the future, she's nicer. So it's sort of like, it's sort of 50-50. It's very weird. But with the remake, like I said, they did try to do stuff a little bit different. And I love the fact that it surprised people, because a lot of people, when they saw the trailer for this, including myself, I looked at the trailer and I just thought, oh god, what? It don't look very good. It don't look like it's going to be good. It looks like it's going to just be one of those meh Disney live action. Because it's not like when you look at like Aladdin or things like that, where the remakes actually look pretty decent. This one, it just looked very meh from the trailer. They didn't really do too much for it. But then after watching the film, I was like, I actually quite enjoyed this film. This one surprised me in so many ways. And yeah, I think it's just the fact that not only did they follow the plot, but also try to do things differently. I like that. That's what I miss in remakes. But for me, I think when it comes to the Peter Pan franchise, I am going to struggle to rank them, because it's a very weird franchise for me. Like, I can never truly fully get into it. I mean, even whilst watching the remake, I struggled to fully get into it. I did get into it more than the original, just because the simple fact of they did try certain things differently. But yeah, so this is going to be all over the place. I do apologise. Like I said, it is a set of films that I'm very all over the place on with this franchise. It's just, yeah. You'll see it when I finally get to do my rankings in the future, when I've watched them all. Yeah, you're going to see what I mean by it's all over the place. So with the remake, I enjoyed it. I feel like they filled in some little plot holes here and there. I think I do prefer Captain Hook as the villain in the original, just the simple fact of he seems more badass. Whereas in this one, it was a little bit different. I really don't know where I'm going with this. I'm struggling with this one. This is a struggling one for me. It's not like Evil Dead last week. Like, that one was easier to talk about than this one. But yeah, so the remake, I think I'm just going to end it here and just say the remake was good. It was fun. It was entertaining. And I like the fact that they did something different. So now let's get into my final decision of to which one I prefer, whether the original or the remake. So for me, at this point in time, I'm going to have to be completely honest, and I'm going to have to go with the 20% of you that voted for it. I'm going to have to go with the remake. I know, blasphemy, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I'll enjoy things a lot more than other people will, and other people enjoy films that I don't enjoy. So don't kill me for this, it's just, I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and we're all going to like things that other people didn't. So for me, I'm going to go for the remake. This is one of very few times where I did prefer the remake over the original. It doesn't happen all that often, but it does. And to be honest, when I'm thinking about it, as I'm talking about it, my first thoughts are, which one would I prefer to return to? This is what my thoughts are when I do these things, when I do the series, is which one would I prefer to return to? Would I prefer to return to the original, the animated? Would I prefer to go back to the remake? Like, which one in my head, if I was to pick a random film for a night and say I did want to watch Peter Pan, what one would I automatically go for? And for me, when I think about it, it is the remake. It's the first one that comes to my head. And that's how I deal with these videos, is I go for the film that I know I will return to in the future. Sometimes that can be tricky. Like, for example, the Fright Night one. I love the original and I love the remake. Both of them are brilliant. So I'd happily return to them both. But for me, say, I do have to think more. I do have to think, what did I enjoy more? What did I find more adventurous, especially when it comes to things like Peter Pan? What did I think of the characters this time around? It's things like that I question when I do these series. But yeah, sorry this one's all over the place. This is a franchise I struggle to get into. I don't hate any of these films, at least as far as I'm aware, I don't hate them. There's some I haven't seen yet, so that could be wrong. But it is still a franchise that's got some decent films in it, at least from what I've seen. Haven't seen the Tinkerbell films, so I will be watching and reviewing those. But yeah, so this video is a bit all over the place. There will be days and videos like this where they will be all over the place, just because it is one of those things. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then do give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button and also notification bell down below to be notified when I post. And also leave me your comments and thoughts on this original versus remake. Are you like me? Did you enjoy the remake more than the original? Do you prefer the original over the remake? I'd love to know your reasons why, so please put them in the comments down below. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.